Today, I'll teach you how to get started with iOS app development using Swift. In this video, I'll be making a simple photo filtering app. Every app starts with a new project in Xcode, Apple's Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. After I open Xcode, I click Create a new Xcode project. Under iOS Application, I select one of Xcode's built-in templates, Single View Application. I name the project Photo Filters and make sure the language pop-up is set to Swift. I choose a location to save the project and click Create. Xcode opens the project to the Project Settings view. The files that make up the app are listed in the Project Navigator on the left side of the window. I want to use a photo in my app, so I need to add it to the project. I'll drag it from the desktop into the Project Navigator, and now the photo is listed with the other files. To begin designing the app, I select the main.storyboard file. A storyboard is a way to visually edit your app's user interface. Right now, there's one screen of content, which is represented by this view controller on the canvas. After I add user interface elements to the storyboard, I'll connect them to code that provides functionality. The photo filtering app needs a view to display a photo. In iOS, image views are elements that draw an image on the screen, so I'll add one of those to my user interface. The object library contains all the user interface elements you can add to a storyboard. The fastest way to find something is to search for it. I type image view and drag one from the library onto the view controller. Notice how the image view snaps to a set of dotted blue layout guides when it's centered. To get the photo to show in the image view, all I need to do is tell the image view to display it. With the image view selected, I open the Attributes Inspector. I can use the Attributes Inspector to set various properties for objects in the interface. Here, I use the pop-up menu for the Image attribute to select the photo I have in the project. I'll also set the image's scale to aspect fill using the Mode attribute so that the photo fills the screen. I want the user interface to show the app title and to have a button so that the user can change filters on the photo. To do this, I'll use a navigation controller to provide a top navigation bar and a bottom toolbar. To add the navigation controller, I click the view controller icon in the top bar of the view controller, then select Editor, Embed in Navigation Controller. The view controller now has a top bar. I double-click the middle to add a title and press Return to save it. I add a bottom toolbar by selecting the navigation controller and in the Attributes Inspector, selecting Shows Toolbar. To add a button, I search for bar button item in the object library, then drag one out onto the bottom bar of the view controller. I double-click the button and change its title to Apply Filter, and then press Return to save. To center it, I add flexible space objects on either side of the button. I want to preview how the app looks on an iPhone, so I open the Assistant Editor and switch to Preview. I'm collapsing the Navigator and Utilities area to give myself more space to work. It looks like the image view isn't resizing to fit on the screen. I can use Auto Layout to make sure the image view automatically resizes on any iOS device. I'll start by adding the default constraints that Auto Layout suggests. I select the image view and open the Resolve Auto Layout Issues menu. I choose Add Missing Constraints to add the constraints. Now, the interface scales correctly for iPhone. I'll check to see that it also works on iPad by adding the iPad preview. Everything looks good. I'm ready to connect the user interface to code that I'll write in the Swift programming language. The code associated with this view controller is in the viewcontroller.swift file. I'll switch the Assistant Editor from Preview to Automatic, and that'll let me make the connections between the code and the user interface. While holding down the Control key, I drag from the image view to the code to create an outlet. An outlet is a variable in my code that's linked to an object in the storyboard. In the pop-up, I type Photo Image View for the name and press Return to create it. I'm going to need a place in memory to render the filtered image before displaying it in the interface. For this, I'll declare a CI context property to use later. Next, I need to hook up the button to perform an action when it's tapped. I control drag from the button to the code right below the context property. This time, I select Action instead of Outlet in the Connection pop-up. I give it the name Apply Filter and press Return. Xcode generates a method that gets called every time a user taps the button. Whenever the Apply Filter method is called, I want to apply a random color hue filter to the image. This behavior is built into a system framework called Core Image. Don't worry if you don't understand this code completely. You can learn more about it in the Core Image documentation. To make a filtered image, I pass the current image, a random color, and a filter name to a filtering function. I get a filtered image, which I render in the context property I declared earlier. Then, I reflect the change back to the interface by setting my outlet's image property to the new image. I can build and run the app in one of the iOS simulators to test out its functionality. That's it. The photo filtering app is complete. Now it's your turn to give it a try.